Hey everyone, it's your girl Jenny and welcome to another reading vlog. Today is Friday, November 7th, I believe, and the plan is to knock out a few novellas that I have on my physical TBR. And I brought 4 with me tonight. I'm not going to be able to get through all of these today, but this is just kind of like a loose TBR. First, I have Buttons by Jennifer Osborn. Then I have Skate or Kill by Ryan Danley. Then I have A Sincere Warning About the Entity in Your Home by Jason Arnopp. And then I have Run Rabbit Run by Talia Lane. Now I do have to say, I already did read one of these, and that was Buttons by Jennifer Osborn. So in this one we follow Karen, and this takes place present day, but we get a little bit of a glimpse of what happened 20 years ago. 20 years ago, Karen moved to this town because her parents got a divorce. One day she was walking home from school and saw a bunch of clown figurines on people's front doorsteps and stuff like that. And a couple of her new friends tell her that there's an urban legend in this town that a psychopath dresses up as a clown and murders people, like full-on slaughters, if they don't have one of the clown figurines. And she realizes that this is a thing a little too late. And it's very short. That's all I'm gonna say about it. And then I recently started Skate or Kill by Ryan Danley, and in this we follow 3 teenage boys. They're all under 16, and essentially they're told to go play outside because TV rots your brain, so go outside. They do just that and make it everybody's problem. I just finished Skate or Kill by Ryan Danley, and again, this is an extreme horror, and we follow 3 15-year-old boys, and they are on speed, and they go across town and they start killing people, and they also just get themselves into quite a bit of trouble. And there was one scene that I did have to skip through because I really didn't want to read about teenagers doing some stuff, so I did skip through that. But other than that, it was gory, and then it had an ending that I did not expect, which I enjoyed because I like when books take me by surprise. So I don't know what I would give this. I think it'd be like a 3.5, maybe 4, but I think it's like at a good 3.5. But again, it's a little shorty. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it. And yeah, if you pick this one up or the one that I previously read, then I recommend you check the triggers. But I am down to these 2. And I was reading the back, and this seems to be like an Easter story, so I might actually hold off on reading this until whenever Easter is, and I think I'm gonna read this one next. And it says, "You have to believe every word. Dear friend, this is no chain letter, hoax, or prank. It is a sincere warning about your home and the entity that dwells within. I wanted to see exactly who I was passing this entity on to." Ooh, what a start. Happy Saturday, everyone. So we're gonna be running errands today, and I'm gonna take a sincere warning about the entity in your house with me today. Happy Sunday, everyone. It is now 7:54 p.m. and my closet doors are open because I need to declutter my closet. So that is what we're gonna do. And in the meantime, I think I'm gonna start listening to an audiobook. I'm gonna start Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. Alright, so I quite literally just started the audiobook of Incidents Around the House, and I'm already annoyed at this mother because she's already telling her daughter that she's barely making any money. And I don't know, but for me, I feel like you need to leave the kids out of those finances or those financial stress conversations because they don't need that. I got done decluttering both of my closets and both of the dressers, and I have to say I feel so much better knowing that I'm getting rid of a lot of things. Now it is time to read, and I'm going to continue a sincere warning about the entity in your home. And you know what's really funny is I started listening to the audiobook of Incidents Around the House, and there's a monster entity demon thing in their house. So I'm just like, I'm reading 2 books about entities in their home. The man brought out a Ouija board. This is about to get a lot more interesting. So far, we have discovered possibly what this entity is, or who this entity was in the past. And so far, I'm enjoying it. I really like that aspect of how the writer discovered the past, but it's also kind of heartbreaking. What an unconventional way to try to get rid of a demon. If this works, I'm gonna be so shocked. I already feel shocked. I finished A Sincere Warning About the Entity in Your Home, and there was a short story at the end called A Letter from Your Twin. That one was good and creepy, but overall the story itself was pretty good. There was nothing extreme or gory about it. It's literally like a letter from someone who experienced tragedy in their home, their old home, and is now warning the new homeowners and to kind of prepare in the best way that they can in order to deal with it. And the way that the writer was able to try to get rid of the entity was so unconventional that I really liked it. So I would say this is like a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but I love the concept. For me, so we are going to be reading Optic by Rebecca Rowland next. And so this says, Sean is a scientist developing the formula for a drug that may cure blindness by stimulating another area of the brain that controls perception. When he surreptitiously tests the drug on himself, he accidentally accesses a neural pathway that appears to allow him to communicate with a complete stranger through telepathy instead. When Sean finally discovers the significance of their connection and of the drug's true effects, it is too late to stop the damage their intimate friendship has set in motion to unfold. Ooh, I think this is going to be fun. It is a signed copy. Happy Monday, everyone. So sorry for the mess in the background. We are currently doing a couple of home projects on top of decluttering, so at least the second floor is kind of a mess. But you know what? It's okay. We got some packages, things that we are using for some of our projects. So one of the projects that we have is renovating our bathrooms upstairs. We're doing one at a time, but look at the new sink. We're doing like gold hardware. That looks really, really nice. Our foam paint roller set. Then we have a new light fixture. We have some toilet paper, and this is a pull-out organizer. I keep some of my skincare products in the bathroom, and usually I put them on the counter, and it's just such an eyesore, so I figured it is time to finally upgrade and get some kind of organizing system. So this is what I went with. Seems fairly simple though. I put this in here. So that's what it looks like. You just slide it out. Oh, also, reading update. I have been listening to Incidents Around the House. I am now at the 42% mark, so almost halfway there. And it is creepy because you're following the POV of a girl. I feel so bad for her because not only is she experiencing this demonic entity that has latched onto her, but she is also dealing with her parents who are having marital issues. And I just feel so bad for her. I mean, it makes sense why this demon has latched onto her, because I feel like it usually goes after people who are vulnerable and, you know, especially kids. She's a pretty smart kid, but she's also very intuitive with like emotions. Like there was a scene recently where the parents weren't clocking that they weren't necessarily welcome in a space, but the girl was like, oh, they are not happy with us here, maybe we should go, but mommy and daddy, but she's like, I don't see why they don't understand that we're not welcome here. That is where I'm at right now. Happy Thursday. I feel like now it has become a thing where if you see this background, you know that I'm picking up the vlog camera, and it has been a couple of days since I have filmed, so let's just catch up a little bit. Then I finished the audiobook of Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman, and I mentioned that I almost DNF'd it because I was listening to the audiobook and the story is based off the POV of a child, and I just couldn't really get into, you know, the childlike voice of the narration, but I'm so glad I stuck with it because I actually ended up really enjoying the story. I don't want to say too much about it, but it really is one of those things where an entity will feed on someone who is vulnerable and naive and is going through something in their personal life. Like our main character, her parents were really going through marriage difficulties, and obviously like kids are very aware and they pick up on things even if they don't understand what it is. They do pick up on it, so that definitely kind of left her open to this being, other mommy, other mother or whatever, and that thing was creepy. Okay, there were a couple of moments where they described this being, and 100% I would have tried to like run away as far as I could, but honestly I really enjoyed it. The ending did not see coming, really liked that. Okay, so now on to books that I'm currently reading. I am reading another novella, and that is Optic Nerve by Rowland, and I started the audiobook. I know we were only supposed to do novellas in this, but you know what, I'm not opposed to listening to an audiobook. I am listening to the audiobook of Forget Me Not by Soto, and this is a romance, and if I'm gonna be quite honest, there are two POVs. We have Emma, it's Emma with an A, A-M-A, and Elliot. They're actually exes, and they're both in the wedding industry. He is a florist and she is a wedding planner, and they have been avoiding each other, or she has been avoiding him, but now she has a client, her biggest client to date, and she is like, no, I want him to be my florist. So now they have to work together, and I think this is going to be like a second chance type of romance, but if I'm going to be honest, he's very frustrating, he's very rude. Even one of the other characters was like, he's rude, that's just kind of how he is. What do you mean? Why are you so rude? And they even went over like the first time Emma and him met, and he was such a fucking dick. And I mean like formally met, because they had met before that, but just in brief passing. But when they formally met for the first time, he pissed me off. I don't know how they ended up dating, to be honest. I am intrigued, plus I've been reading a lot of horror, so it is nice to sprinkle in something that's not a horror every now and then. Oh, and also I'm taking advantage of the book outlet sale, and I placed an order a couple days ago, and then I couldn't help it, I placed another order yesterday. I'm so excited. I don't have it yet, but I will be posting that unboxing once it's arrived. Yeah. All right, we're gonna read this. I'm gonna have a little snack. These are some of my favorite. They're mini muffins from Aldi, and they're the chocolate chip ones. Okay, so I finished Optic Nerve, and this is like a medical sci-fi horror thriller type of situation, and I actually ended up enjoying it. I didn't really know where we were going. Sean is a scientist, and their lab is working on creating a pill or a medicine to essentially cure blindness, and it got to a point where it was ready to be like tested. However, there was a bunch of red tape, so the project got put on pause, but Sean decided to test it on himself, and he started to experience some things. And I won't go into too much detail, but I did not expect this book to go where it went, and I enjoyed it. I have some thoughts on things, but I really don't want to spoil any of the book because it is so short. I think it's only like 46 pages, but I did enjoy this one. The only thing I didn't like is that there aren't real like chapter markers. Sometimes it would just kind of jump into the next part of the story, and I feel like for this kind of book especially, I think it would have benefited from those clear cuts. Those are my thoughts. So I finished that, and I ended up starting Piñata by Tory Favro, and this is an extreme horror story, and so far I am on page 28, and I absolutely despise our main character. Her name is Marju, and unfortunately she's not a good person by any means, and she's a mother. So for this, I would recommend checking the trigger warnings because she's awful, not just to her kids but also to her dog, and just in general, overall, like bad vibes. Go ahead and read you the blurb. It says, "You are all invited to a party in apartment 4. Make sure you're hungry. It's going to be crazy. In fact, it's going to be crazy enough for someone to get sanctioned. Marju is planning something big. She loves a great party with nice food and party games, especially piñatas. But with 2 meddlesome kids and a dog that just won't stop yapping, it's taking the shine off her preparations. This hard-hitting book takes you down a rabbit hole, one that is not filled with beautiful things and strange situations. This is filled with blood, excrement, and all forms of nastiness. Come with us on a journey right into the center of madness, but please leave a trail just so you will be able to find your way back. Marju is waiting." Marju is our main character, and she is a horrible human being, and especially a horrible mother. She had a really rough upbringing because she grew up in Poland and was put in situations that no person should ever be put in, especially so young, and that messed with her, and now she's just an awful person. And I feel so bad for these girls. Like, I wish I could reach into the book and hold them and take them away from her, because the things that she does, I'm surprised that she still has her kids. And I also feel bad for the dog because same thing, this woman just does not care about the children, the dog, anybody. Ew. Happy Monday, everyone. Don't mind the appearance. It has been such a struggle today, but anyway, I wanted to go ahead and close out this vlog today. Over the weekend, I didn't really do like a ton of reading, but I do have 2 more novellas that I want to update you guys on. First, I mentioned in one of my last clips that I started reading Piñata by Tory Favro, and holy shit, this is definitely an extreme horror. It was just so disgusting, and if that's your thing, definitely give it a shot. Just read the trigger warnings. Give this maybe a 3 out of 5 stars. The mom in this is such a POS, and she does so many things that are just horrendous. I was really hoping for the book to turn around, and it never did. And sometimes with extreme horrors, I want some revenge or I want some justice, and unfortunately we just didn't get that with this, so that's why it is a 3 out of 5 stars. But if you do go into this, please read the trigger warnings, because there is just so much explicit content in this that I would recommend. It involves kids, there's animal stuff, and cannibalism, so yeah. And then I read Rest Stop by Cassidy. I actually finished it maybe 10 minutes ago. And in this story, we follow Abe, and he goes on this little road trip to go see his bubby, and he stopped at a rest stop, and he will regret it. And he ends up getting locked in this bathroom, and it's just like a room of horrors. Things start coming from the vents, and it doesn't just stop there. And I was really enjoying this. Like, overall, Abe's character is such a coward, so it was very interesting to see him kind of go up against these things, and I was just so interested up until the last few chapters when suddenly it takes a turn. And I knew as soon as they made this twist, I knew things were gonna go over my head, just because I'm not someone who's very well read on things like that. So that unfortunately knocked off a star for me, but other than that, up until that point, I was really enjoying this. I still recommend it, but just be warned, there's a lot of little critters and a lot of eyeballs. I really enjoyed this cover because there's googly eyes all over. But yeah, these are the last two novellas that I've read for this vlog. I don't know how many that makes, but if you've read any of these, I would love to know your thoughts. And I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog, and as always, happy reading!